Hello world, my name is Danny Brown, and this is the EDMDMA, the rave culture. If you haven't seen the first part of this series, I would highly recommend watching that first before watching this one. Anyways, like I mentioned in the first segment, I went to a mainstream rave concert. When I polled 40 people before the concert about what they thought the most popular rave drug was, every single one of them said ecstasy or Molly, otherwise known as MDMA. I'm about to throw a lot of names and dates at you in this segment, so fair warning. Methylene deoxymethamphetamine was actually very unknown until 1976 when Dr. Andrew Shulgin was introduced to it. He started to test it for psychopharmaceutical purposes, drugs' effect on the brain. He told Leo Zeff, a psychologist, about it, who then used it in his practice to aid talk therapy. Zeff traveled America and Europe, introducing it to hundreds of psychologists throughout the countries, and eventually word got out about it. In 1980, MDMA was growing in popularity in Dallas' trendy and gay nightclubs, obtaining the street name Atom. The nickname ecstasy originated in 1982. MDMA research was banned in America in 1985 due to the potential dangers of the drug. Soon after MDMA research was banned in the mid-1980s, innovational DJ Frankie Knuckles started combining old disco beats with electronic sounds to create soulful, energetic dancing music in a Chicago club called The Warehouse. People would go to record stores and ask for the music from The Warehouse, so the term house music was coined. In January 1987, Steve "Silk" Hurley had the first house #1 hit with Jack Your Body. This recognition of the new genre started to spread the word. The more specific term, acid house, was created due to the production of new house tracks using the Roland TB-303, an electronic synthesizer sequencer. The Roland TB-303 created squelching bass sounds. On the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, in January 1987, the London Times newspaper was the first to report ecstasy seizures. The designer drug ecstasy has become the sinister sideline for evil dealers cashing in on the teenage acid house music craze that's sweeping Britain, the paper reads. This was the first appearance of the media attaching the drug MDMA with the music genre acid house. This gave ecstasy a bad name due to the dangers, but also a good name to somebody who might like to use drugs at a party due to the sexual and mental stimuli they supply. The newspaper gave this drug more publicity, but how did it surface in the party scene in the first place? A man named Ian Paul owned and disc jockeyed at a gay nightclub named Project in Streatham, London. Ian Paul had a cousin named Trevor Fung who also DJ'd and lived in London. In 1979, Trevor and Ian went to San Antonio, Ibiza. Ibiza is the third largest island of the Balearic Islands in the Mediterranean Sea, a popular vacation spot for Europeans. Homosexuality is very accepted and quite popular in Ibiza. After going to Ibiza for a number of years, Trevor met a man at the S Paradis Club in San Antonio in 1986. After Trevor got to know the man for a while, he and his cousin Ian were offered an orange-white capsule with powder in it, and they took it. This first experience with ecstasy blew their minds away. The next year, Ian and Trevor contacted a friend named Danny Rampling. Danny decided to visit the two cousins along with 3 other DJs for his 24th birthday. Danny brought along Nicky Holloway, Paul Oakenfold, and Johnny Walker, all DJs. Their favorite club was Amnesia in San Rafael, Ibiza, where a man called DJ Alfredo was playing all summer and fall long. This is where the boys first heard Alfredo play acid house, the genre created in Chicago. Alfredo also played Balearic beats, a mix of disco and techno that was considered the sound of Ibiza. When Trevor introduced ecstasy to his friends, he changed their lives forever, as described by Nicky. Afterwards, we went back to the villa. It was weird. We were all standing in the pool, holding hands, listening to Art of Noise's Moments in Love, like a load of wallies. All chilled out and loved up, thinking it was going to change the world, thinking that if everyone did ease, there would be no more wars. To get a good sense of what Club Amnesia was like, owner Ulysses Braun has quite the description.
There were people taking their clothes off, making love, I tell you the truth. When Alfredo stopped the music, people started to scream, Alfredo, Alfredo. He was the only man. He played 7 days a week, for 6 or 7 months at a time. It was a special club, a madness house. Some people would come and look and just run away.
When the crew got back to London, not only had it changed their lives, but they had a vision for the future of clubbing. After Project closed at 2 a.m., Paul would let in his Ibiza friends via invite only and party until 6 a.m. They attempted to recreate the experience they had in Ibiza using the combination of MDMA with acid house and Balearic beats. Nicky Holloway, Paul Oakenfold, and Danny Rampling all opened clubs upon returning to London. Danny opened Club Shoom with his wife, named after what they thought it felt like to be on ecstasy. Shoom! They used smiley faces in their flyers, which was eventually adopted as the symbol for acid house. Warehouse raving in America and club raving in Europe steadily increased in popularity throughout the 90s. Raving and taking ecstasy still hadn't hit the mainstream, however. The communities were very underground. In America, one could only go to a warehouse rave if one heard about it via word of friend. There are no flyers, no text messages, no Facebook events, only word of mouth. And the community stayed underground until Mac Dre, a rapper from the Bay Area, brought MDMA usage to new heights.